Hello everyone. With Altimor's release of his netcode fix mod, I wanted to make a video visually explaining what is happening to the netcode with this mod applied. But first I need to explain how the netcode works. Currently the SF5 netcode frame locks both players' games at the start of a round. It does this by forcing both games to run at the same FPS and then frame locks them at the start of the round. In this video here, you'll see that when I artificially drop the frame rate down below 60 FPS, both games slow down together until the round starts. This is the netcode trying to sync up both games so they both start on frame 1 together. With the current netcode, once they are synced up, they should never become desynced at any point during the round. If they do, they are technically supposed to pause both games, as shown in this clip, and then resume again on the same frame. So if one game is paused, or if there's a large packet loss, both games should pause until both games can determine that they are both running at the exact same frame again. This works all fine and well until you add latency into the equation. What the netcode does when there is latency is it pushes the start time of the two games apart by the amount of frames it takes to receive data between both systems at the start of the round. For example, if there is 50 milliseconds of latency between both players, one game will start the round at frame 1, while the other game waits to receive a signal from that game telling it to start playing its game on frame 1. This difference in wait time is the latency between the players, but it is read as frames by the netcode. 16.6 milliseconds equals one frame in the game. Therefore, with a 50 millisecond ping between players, there will be a difference of 3 frames between both systems. So if you add this into the equation using the current netcode, this would mean one game will start on frame 1, while the other game will start on frame 4 in real time. According to the netcode, they are both in sync with exactly 3 frames in between both systems to compensate for latency, and they should never get any closer or farther apart, otherwise they are supposed to pause both games like I showed in the previous clip. Any additional latency that happens during the round due to ping spikes or network jitter is handled by rollbacks. This is why you see teleporting during a round if there happens to be a ping spike, as the games cannot slow down or speed up to compensate for the additional latency, as they are locked and synced at exactly 3 frames. I'll show you what I mean here. If you notice, both games have no latency and look like offline play, but when I add in 150 milliseconds of latency, you'll start to see teleporting until I turn it off. With the current netcode, any fluctuations in latency are handled with rollbacks, giving you teleporting or skipping animations. If there is no additional latency beyond the start of round, you don't get rollbacks, but if there is, you do. This is because the only compensation the current netcode does for latency is at the start of the round, and that is its main flaw. Because it cannot make any adjustments during the round, it cannot compensate if there is a large ping spike or if one game starts running behind or faster than the other over time. So that is what Altimor's mod is trying to correct for. In this clip here, I'm going to show you what the mod is doing to try and correct for large ping spikes or desyncs the current netcode is not able to adjust for. I'm going to apply a ping spike of 150 milliseconds real quick just to simulate something that might happen against a Wi-Fi user. And you'll notice instead of the bottom modded player seeing a teleporting mess, it slightly slows down the system to give it more time to see the animations, thereby not skipping large pieces of the animation. This adds in a slight input delay at the time of the spike, but gives you a much better and playable visual experience as a compromise. Now you'll notice on the top screen that is without the mod, it is unable to adjust for these ping spikes, so it experiences massive teleporting and skipping of animations. This is what those without the mod are experiencing right now if you play against them using this mod when there is a bad connection. So please don't be a dick and play against people who are not running the mod. Altimor is currently working on a fix to allow the mod to adjust for slowdown or speed up of the games, so that it will adjust for those that do not have the mod. This should make it so both game states will stay close enough together to avoid the one-sided rollback issue it currently has. I've left links to download the mod below as well as clips of the mod in use before and after, so you can see how well it works. If you have any additional questions, please leave a comment below.